Power. Where does power come from? Where does power exist? It has been said that each human being has unlimited power within him. He is only limited by the limits he imposes upon himself. But how many of us feel powerless? We feel powerless over our situations in our lives, the difficulties, the problems, the people. Where do we begin to express this power? Or how do we tap into this power if we have so much power within us? What is stopping us? What is holding us back from using this power to achieve our desires? We are holding ourselves back. And how do we do that? Well, we can never expect to control outer circumstances and situations until we first learn to control inner situations and inner circumstances. The kingdom of heaven is within. Heaven. What is heaven? I say a person can have heaven here on earth if he changes his perception of the world. Why is it some people can live in a wonderful, prosperous, abundant world, and others live in a world of lack and degradation? Perception. Yes, I know there are some people born into extreme poverty, and I've been around some people that were born into extreme poverty. I lived among people in extreme poverty, but they were happy. Even though many times they were hungry, they were happier than many of us in the U.S. here who have all the modern luxuries which far surpass those of kings of great kingdoms in earlier times. And yet, we remain depressed, unhappy, unfulfilled. Why is that? Because you have no control over your inner world. You have no fulfillment, you have no contentment, you have no peace, because you have nothing on the inside. And what stops us from having these things? What stops us from tapping into this power that is at the root of all of the achievement of our desires that we would love to have? Well, some people say it's the 7 deadly sins. A sin is just your inability to achieve something. It's a mistake. It's missing the mark. It comes from an old Anglo-Saxon term in archery, which means to miss the mark, or if you like, to miss the bullseye. And what are these defects of character, or these sins which hinder us from tapping into this great power that lies within each of us? Well, there's a list of them here called the 7 deadly sins, and I'll read them off for you. They are pride, greed, wrath, envy, lust, gluttony, and sloth. So pride leads the procession. Now, none of us will ever eliminate all of these from our inner world, from ourselves. We may, we may tame them for a while, but they will rear their ugly heads at certain times in our lives. Now, we don't have to act on these feelings, but most people are sometime going to feel proud in their lives. Now, when I talk about pride, I'm not talking about I'm proud of my kids. I'm proud that I take care of myself. Now, I'm not talking about that kind of pride. I'm talking about the kind of pride that blinds your eyes. Maybe you're proud to be an American, and that's great. But if your pride blinds you to the fact that there are other people in the world that are equal to you, the same as you, whether they're rich or poor, then that pride is what I would call a character defect or a sin. or when you think you're better than someone else in a way that you can do whatever they can't do. Each person has skills. Let me give you an example. I was walking to a meeting the other night, and I seen a man who was homeless by the air conditioner as he was getting his stuff out of his bags. I just kind of wondered about him as I walked by. Well, on the way home after the meeting, I walked by him, and he was on the other side of the town by the food pantry. And they have a little compartment there where people like him can get some food out of there, and nobody has to be at the pantry. And I walked past him, and I seen him there, and I thought, well, that's good that he can get food because he has no place to live, and I'm sure he's hungry. In contrast to sometimes I walk by there when the food pantry's open, and there are many cars out there and many people who are obese and overweight walking in there to get food. I've lived in other countries where people are poor and the people that need food are very skinny. So you can think of that what you like. That's the way I look at it. Maybe those people need to be exercising or going to work. But I'm not judging them. I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying sometimes to love people, we have to deny them what they want. Because many times what a person wants is not what they need. But we won't go there. Back to the original topic, pride. So as I walk past this man, I'm no better than him. I may be more skilled at certain things, maybe making money, more responsible at providing for my family and myself. But yet, if I were put in his position, let's say we traded places for the night, and he came home and he had to take care of my 6 kids, take care of the house, or let's say a week even, or a month. And I had to go live as he lived. He has survival skills that I don't even know about. He would be just as uncomfortable in my house trying to handle the responsibilities that I have with a business, the YouTube channel, my kids, and all the decisions I have to make each day and the things I carry around in my head. He would have as much trouble and difficulties and stress with that as I would. I may have more stress trying to live his life without his skills. Each of us have different skills. So for me to think I'm better than him, sure, I may be better at certain things, but he's better at other things. We each have a different life. And for me to sit back and say that his life is a waste, that's not true either. I have no idea but what he's been through, who he's helped, who he may be able to help in the future, and what his life is going to be like, or I don't know anything about him. So if I walk by prideful, and I've probably done this in my life, I know I've done this in my earlier life, looking at him and feeling great about myself, thinking I'm better than he is, that's the kind of pride I'm talking about. Because as I said, I may be better at certain skills than him, but he's better at other things, other skills than I am. So that's the pride. Pride, that's one of them. What's number 2? Greed. Greed. It's okay to desire things, to want more. But greed is when you want more at the expense of others. To desire to have more, to aspire for more, to try for more is good. We're made that way. But when we do it in a way that we push other people down, or limit other people, or take advantage of other people, then it becomes greed, or deny other people. That man has food up there because people are not greedy and they give food there for people who are less fortunate. In our world today, there's plenty of food. This overpopulation thing is just ridiculous. If you live in the city, you may think it's not. But when you travel the world and you live in the country and rural areas, you realize there's plenty for everyone. Back in the 70s, they were talking about we were going to have a famine. By the 90s, I think, and people would be going without food. The only people that are going without food are people in impoverished parts of the world. And it's not because there's not enough food in the world for them. It's because of greed. Many prosperous countries like USA send food and money to these people, and before it gets to them, their own people take it, and they never benefit from it. So there is no lack in the world. There is no overpopulation. Yeah, they said back in the 70s, by the 90s, people would be starving. There would be a great famine. And as I said, it's quite the opposite in the Western world. And the only reason people are starving in impoverished areas is because of, number 2, greed. People want so much for themselves because they think there's not enough. Many people who are millionaires, billionaires live in lack because they have to have more. They don't think they have enough. And as one of my old mentors said, until what you have today is enough, you will never have enough. It's good to have a prudent reserve, a little nest egg, so to speak, in case something comes up or you want something that was unexpected, you have an opportunity. But to hoard and to be greedy and to think you got to get more because there's not enough, it isn't congruent with a fulfilling life. So greed is number 2. I'm going to stop on greed today. These things, pride and greed, they limit your ability to succeed. Pride and greed limit you to succeed. All right? I'm not a poet. Okay. Well, I hope this has been of value today. Share it with a friend. And we'll do another session with some of the other character defects, and we'll talk about it in a way that you can never overcome these. You're always going to have them to some degree, but you will get to the point where you can manage them and use those energies from these things, such as pride and greed, to promote you, to create the life you desire. And that's what I'm here for, to inspire, enlighten, and build up humanity. And humanity is you who are watching at this moment. So I'm out of here. Take care. Have a great day.